work with high-performing individuals and teams to help them maximize their productivity, because when you're productive, you can take your success to the next level. One of the things I really want you to walk away with is an understanding that we can't manage time. Time is not there to be managed. So move away from this concept of time management. I want you to start thinking about your time the way you think about your money, as an enormously precious, limited resource. We all have exactly the same amount of it, and nobody can buy more or steal more, regardless of how wealthy or stealthy or clever they are. So let's start thinking about our time as money, as something that needs to be invested. So let's switch from time management to time investment. Where am I going to invest my time today? Where will I get the biggest bang for my buck by investing my time today? So there's a 5-step process that I take you through in the book, my 5 Smart Step framework. And it's a proven framework. I developed it a number of years ago and worked it on myself. My friends then said to me, "Oh God, how are you doing this? Can you work with us too?" And ultimately turned it into a business. I've written 4 books around this, that circle around this framework, and I've worked with thousands and thousands of professionals around the world. So the 5 steps is an acronym, SMART. Step 1 is self-aware. This is where you need to understand exactly what your time challenges are. What's getting in your way? What keeps tripping you up? Then we look at what your values are. Now, when I talk about values, it's not so much, the vanilla values that we all have, honesty, integrity, trustworthy, we all have those. They're sort of core and fundamental to the way you behave. I'm talking about where you want to spend your time. What would you get out of bed for if you were really, really sick? What absolutely floats your boat? What do you love talking about when you've got the chance to talk with your friends? When you understand exactly what those type of values are, exactly where you want to spend your time, then it makes you understand, or gives you absolute clarity over where you don't want to spend your time, what you can say no to. When you've got that laser-like focus, that laser-like clarity on your values and where you want to spend your time, it makes it very easy to start saying no to everything else, because it's just white noise. Step 2 is map. That's where you'll map a couple of days of your time from the minute you get up to the minute you go to bed. In detail, I want to understand every time you change task, every interruption, every distraction, every time that you lose focus, every time you jump from an email into a phone call, back into an email, into a document, how many screens you've got open on your computer. Because that's going to show me exactly where you're spending your time. Because until you know exactly where you're spending your time, you can't know what changes you can make to your time. Step 3 is analyze. That's where we break your time down into 4 different categories: your musts, your wants, things that you can delegate, insource or outsource, and things that you can reject. And it's the insource, outsource, delegate, and reject buckets where you are going to find all of your lost time. We also spend a bit of time costing your time in this part, in step 3, analyze. We look at the financial cost of how you're spending your time. We look at the opportunity cost, because every time you choose to perform a particular task, you're going to be losing time or losing the opportunity to spend time on something else. Physical cost and emotional costs are the other cost layers that we dig into, so that you actually have a really good understanding of what your time habits are costing you. Step 4 is reframe. This is where you decide exactly what you're going to delegate, exactly what you're going to outsource or insource, and exactly what you're going to reject or do differently, including what you can systemize, because that's where you're going to find those 30 hours. And step 5 is take control. This is implementation time. This is where the rubber hits the road. This is where I work with you to implement all of these changes in a sustainable way so that you get those 30 hours back every single month, and you do it with simple strategies that are so easy to sustain. It's exciting.